Almost as awful as if Yamaha branched out into menswear, like the jacket you're about to see. This is actually the biggest grand piano factory in the world and produces something like this every 15 minutes, which I find quite incredible because I know where all the cars go. Cars are always being thrown away, but a piano it's not for life, it's usually for several lifetimes. But anyway, I'm going to meet a Mr. Suzuki, confusingly. He works for Yamaha and he drives a Honda. Konnichiwa, Suzuki-san.
こんにちは、鈴木です。私はマツダの車を乗ってます。
A Mazda?
マツダ。
Oh, sumimasen.
はい。
Sorry, that was wrong. Mr. Suzuki drives a Mazda, not a Honda. Anyway, let's start with a few basics. This is the iron frame. This is cast just over the road in Yamaha's own foundry. This is why pianos are so heavy. I reckon that weighs, at a guess, about 129 kilograms. The cases of the pianos are also made in a separate factory. What we're looking at here is final assembly. This is where all the bits become an instrument and gain a soul. And the employees gain vanilla shell suits. Lucky them. This is a classic example of what the Japanese do best. Perfectly formed, finely tuned, traditional yet modern instruments. Here are robots driving the tuning pins into the pin block. That has to be done very, very accurately, and why not use a machine tool? It's how Japan reindustrialized itself. But there are some jobs too precious to entrust to robots. So this is stringing. Could I try this?
ごめんなさい。このピアノはエルトン・ジョンが買ってくれるかもしれないんで、ごめんなさい。ちょっとこれはできないです。
It's Elton John's piano. Is it really?
かもしれない。ただ、他のピアノ用意してますので。
I think that's a Japanese for we have a piano that doesn't really matter that I can have a go on. Let's put some strings on. Before I can have a bash myself, I must be formally educated by Yamaha's Sultan of String, Mr. Ogi. Doku Ogi-san.
Doku means poison.
I don't want you to poison Mr. Ogi. Ogi. Doko Ogi-san.
ちょっと待ってください。私今呼びますんで。
Okay. While Mr. Suzuki goes to find Mr. Ogi, I feel a movement coming on. We're going to play Chopin's Revolutionary Etude. That is roughly the Revolutionary Etude. Following this well-received but entirely imaginary intermezzo, Mr. Ogi appears, alive and well. But first, I need protection.
入るかな。腕が太いですね。
3 layers, in fact. This is to stop me touching the strings, etc., with my filthy, oily layman's fingers. Moisture is the enemy of these tempered, high-carbon steel strings, one of the many reasons you shouldn't play the piano in the bath. And this is where the Japanese obsession with detail really comes into play. The string is just appearing on the other side of the peg. And now we need chi clockwise turns. I am in hands-on heaven. Every single one of the 230 strings must be hooked over hitch pins at the thin end of the piano, and then tightly and immaculately coiled around tuning pins at the business end. And it's this painstakingly pedantic process that will create pitch-perfect tension and timbre. That's what they should look like, but that's what mine look like. I mean, they're tight, but they're a bit messy. What does Mr. Ogi think? That is. Okay. Something tells me my enjoyment of the well-tempered clavier might lead to a bad-tempered crew. Much as the director's going to hate this, I'm going to do it again.
Sorry, we don't have time.
Well, you've just been buggering about with the camera for half an hour.
We've got to move on to the next scene. We can't do this again.
I will not be able to sleep if I don't do it properly. That's about a half. Okay. Okay, that's better. Ni. Okay, Hidari, Migi. I know what they're doing. Migi Hidari. Yes? You rotten bastards. Just so you know, that one's much better. Having strung out the piano stringing scene for so long, the director only had 5 minutes to shoot the rest of the piano creation process. How exciting is that? That's like the reverse of a crematorium. A piano is born. It's a baby grand. And remarkably, Yamaha has one piano that Elton John hasn't reserved. This is actually going to make me very melancholy because I was quite good at this 30 years ago when I was young and optimistic, and I thought it would make me more interesting to girls. And then I stopped playing the piano and I put my piano into storage, and then the next thing I knew I was a very old man and girls didn't find me interesting. But I have recently started attempting to relearn the piano. And I've been working on a few things like this Beethoven Sonata. This is number 32, the C minor. It's one of the most complicated. I can't play it all by any means, but I have started to learn it, so I'll play a bit for you from the beginning. By the end of the week, I think I'll probably be at the bottom of the first page. First, it was